So Nigel, what's the background to acquiring Cherry Fields? Where does it go back to?
It goes back to about 2013. The parish council was very keen to get access to the river, and they did a survey in the village, and overwhelmingly people supported that idea. There was nowhere else in the parish you could get access to the river at that time, and people wanted more green space, more wild green space rather than just mown grass. And at that time there was a suggestion that the farmer who owned a couple of fields might want to bequeath them to the village. Unfortunately, he died shortly thereafter, and it was necessary for the parish council to buy the land, but there was a head of steam built up by then, and in 2016 the parish council finally took ownership of about 12 or 13 acres, and we've been working on them ever since.
Absolutely fantastic. We had a worker working a moment ago, one of your volunteers. Yep. Who's that?
That's John. He's tidying up around the car park. We've got a car park here for visitors because people come from quite a far way around to walk or to bring the dog. And we've left everything as natural as we can, but sometimes the weeds get a bit waist high and we need to teach them a lesson.
Yeah, it's interesting because you're right beside the fairly busy road here at Cherry Willingham on the outskirts of the village, but it's great to have the car park because people then don't congest the road, do they?
Well, it would have been dangerous, people parking alongside the road. We found that early on. So we built a car park with a capacity of about 12 or 13 cars. It sometimes fills up, but most of the year it's fine for our needs.
And what about the volunteers? Have you got plenty that want to get involved with the project?
There's at the moment about 30 people on the email list, and we get out about 6 or 8 a couple of times a month. It's not particularly onerous work. We are getting to a certain age, so always looking for younger volunteers to come in and replace them. And over the years that has been happening.
Got an absolutely glorious morning. As we were walking around the corner here from where the sort of orchard area is, I thought there was a real deer standing to attention, but what is that?
That's made by one of the ladies in the village. She makes animals out of, believe it or not, scrunched up crisp packets and cement powder, and then paints and varnishes them, and they are waterproof, and they stand up very well to the weather. And most people who see it, the first thought is, crikey, there's a deer. It's very good.
This area here, it's got the community involved, hasn't it, with the tree planting?
All of the trees that have been planted, and there's about 10,000 have been planted by members of the community, particularly families and younger children. And that's had the advantage, of course, as the children get older and get into their teens, they remember planting the trees. They vaguely remember which tree was theirs, and they've got a sense of ownership, and there is relatively very little damage that happens down at Cherry Fields. The area we're in at the moment is the community orchard. There's about 98 fruit trees, all sorts of different varieties, heritage varieties and all sorts. They've been planted with sponsorship from members of the community, remembering family members or special events. And they've grown really fast. They're only 2 or 3 years old now, and some of them are already bearing fruit. The soil here, it's a heavy clay, but it's very, very fertile, and they're doing well.
I spotted an apple on the ground.
Yes.
If it's still there when we walk back, I might go and pick that
try,
one up.
yes, why
now,
not?
it's interesting here because you've got the orchard area, and then next to it, you've got more planting, but a little bit wilder.
Yes, the ethos of the area is to use native species right throughout, and to make it look natural. So what we have is a mix of native trees, native shrubs, and about half of this top field, which is 8 acres, was sown with a wildflower seed mix about 4 years ago. Sown by hand, I would add, which is fairly back-breaking work. But there were dozens and dozens of people brought their families out from the village to sow it, and it was good fun.
And the lovely thing is you've cut pathways then through, haven't you?
Yes, it's people tend to follow paths. We have a main metalled path that goes through the site, and people tend to stick to that. So we felt that if we cut paths through the wildflower meadow, it encouraged people to step off the path and come in and engage with nature a bit more. We will next week be cutting the whole meadow down and removing the hay, and that just reduces the nutrient in the soil and encourages the wildflowers to grow a bit better. This will be the 3rd, I think, or 4th year we've cut it, And it is getting better gradually over the years. More and more different varieties of wildflowers are creeping in.
Very much different areas here at Cherry Fields. We'll leave the strimmer in the background
Yes.
and head to another location, I think. We'll just head off down this particular footpath here, I think.